Do you think Lara is intentionally stirring up drama?
She just has this weird obligation to want to be Lara's best friend.
Why was I so naive and stupid to put her on a pedestal? It almost seems that Lara doesn't treat her as an equal.
It's almost like she's talking to her like they're really good friends, but it's in a really mean way.
Yes. Hi everybody, welcome back to Below Deckperts, the sibling duo YouTube show where we recap current Below Deck seasons. Today we're recapping Below Deck Down Under, Season 3, Episode 12, Across Frenemy Lines.
Wow.
Did I get that all?
You did.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
good job.
Cool.
Across frenemy lines.
A deckhand is forced to own up to their own mistake, and Jason pushes Lara out of her comfort zone. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So the main points we have for today is Nick is a character, but I have in a good way.
Yeah.
He's like the character we wish he who shall not be named was. We had high hopes for him at the beginning.
Been fun. Yeah.
Harry gets promoted to lead deckhand.
He does.
And there's drama between Zarena, Alicia, and Lara.
Yeah.
Which we have to have some drama, you know?
And they pushed us right into that after the whole stuff.
Yeah.
They took like 9 seconds and they're like, here's this.
Yeah, it's so weird that I wonder if this would have come up. I mean, we can speculate all we want, I guess. This is like playing what if in life, but would this have come up if Weehan was still there?
Yeah. I think so.
I think it eventually would have too, because I think I'm just actually surprised it hasn't come up till now.
Yeah, me too, because Zarena has, and we say this almost every episode, she just has this weird obligation to want to be Lara's best friend.
Yeah. Well, she even makes the comment this episode. Do you remember her saying something like, here, I wrote it down.
I thought we were going to be sisters or something like that.
Yeah, she says, hold on, I think I can find it. Why was I so naive and stupid to put her on a pedestal, is what she says. I know, and I do feel bad for her. And the couple of people in the comments say, like, she was on some show or whatever and saying she has ADHD. And, like, so people with ADHD are neurodivergent is a term they use, which is just they think differently than certain people. And I think that has something to do with it. I mean, but people are people. We've had this conversation, and you want people to like you, and you know, I don't fault her for that. I keep saying that, but
yeah, weird time.
Yeah.
It's also a high stress environment too.
Right.
You're gonna say things that you wouldn't normally say.
Yeah, I do have a note later. I guess I'll just say it now that I do notice that Lara doesn't treat her. It almost seems that Lara doesn't treat her as an equal, and they are equals, you know, like, and it's brought up at the end of the episode where it's like, you know, she's rolling her eyes at her, telling her, you should do this, and Zarena's just kind of gone with it up to this point. I think Zarena's finally had enough.
Yeah, it's almost like she's talking to her like they're really good friends, but it's in a really mean way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I just see it as like the popular girl and the girl that's not, I don't want to say like the not popular girl, but it's just like the Regina George and Gretchen Wieners.
Yeah.
Have you seen Mean Girls? That's exactly what it is.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say it's the popular girl and her lab partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely Regina George and Gretchen Wieners. That's exactly what it is.
Is that really her name in
Gretchen
the movie?
Wieners, yeah.
That's hilarious.
And her dad invented a toaster strudel.
I totally forgot that part, that her last name is
Gretchen
Wieners.
You know, you never really... I can't laugh too much today, otherwise I'm going to cough. But you never really even think about it when you're watching the movie, how funny it is that her last name's Wieners. You just go with it.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so kind of, my question kind of has to do with this. I said, do you think Lara is intentionally stirring up drama? And I guess what I'm referring to is with Alicia and Zarena.
I want to say no, but I don't think that would be true, because there was one part where Bree, and this was right before they brought Alicia into the room and they started talking to her, where Bree went into the kitchen and and said something weird to me. She's like, "Are you okay? Okay, come on." And Alicia was like, no, I'm busy. She's like, no, come on.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's a mean girl thing to do. Like,
Bree?
no. Yeah, I think it was Bree.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, no, come tell me your drama. It seemed like
Yeah.
that. So I didn't
That's
like
true.
that. But,
That is true. Well, and the one thing I didn't like was at the end when they were at the bar or whatever and they're in the bathroom and she's like, did you talk to Zarena? And she's like, yeah, like it's just kind of, you can tell Alicia just wanted to maybe put it to bed, to be like, oh, it's just kind of is what it is. And she's like, that's not how it should be. In my mind, Alicia couldn't have said anything in that moment that Lara wouldn't have reacted that way in.
yeah.
Like, to stir the pot even more. Because it's just a mean girl thing to do. And I don't want to keep calling Lara a mean girl yet. I don't want to, like, marry myself to the fact that she is that. I want to keep giving her the benefit of the doubt, but we'll have to see how this goes. Because there are times where I'm like, she is right. There's times where Zarena's right. Because there's sometimes that Zarena is being, like, a little weird and not communicate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not on someone's team yet, I guess.
Yeah, me neither, because they're both kind of in the wrong. And even that part, what she's saying after they talk in the bathroom, which is like, oh, that's such an old thing to say. That's not how the industry works, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't really what she was saying. Laura just kind of clamped onto that.
Yes, that's the vibe I got, where she was like, she was going to take anything she said and kind of twist it and be like, that's not how she should have responded.
Yeah.
So, anyway. All right, let's get into this. We're on the second day of the charter. They make a point to show us that Alicia is 6 minutes late again. Did you notice that? Which it's like, okay, is that going to come up? It kind of didn't really come up later this episode.
Yeah.
I thought Zarena was going to say something about it.
She says something like almost in passing.
Okay.
She's like, you should try and get here a little earlier. And she was like, well, I set my alarm for this time. And she's like, well, maybe set it earlier.
Yes, you're right. They did kind of, yeah. So, no, the way they edited the whole Nick thing this episode was actually very funny.
It was very funny.
Because they flash back to him taking the shot and he's in bed and he's like, oh my God, he's like holding his head. And there's like times where he's like rehearsing what he's going to say in the room and he's pacing.
I love the part when he's like rehearsing everything. He's like all these serious ones. And he's like, hey, Captain, you seen Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, he's like, I can put myself, this is exactly how I would be. I would be like trying to come up with the perfect way to say it when there is really no perfect way. You would just have to go in there and say it and it's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah. And yeah, I felt him in that moment because I would be in there just thinking of every single word, how it's spelled and the grammar I needed. But, and he goes up there and he's just like, I fucked up. And I would do the same thing. Like, Captain, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and we'll get to it in a second. But first, we get Captain pushing Lara to mix things up again with Marina. And he said part of being a leader is pushing people to grow, which we talked about last week. And I think Lara needed to be kind of called out on that.
Yeah.
And what did she say? I don't know if I put...
When you said leader, it kind of sounded like you said she needs to be a wiener.
Oh,
and that made me laugh.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Is it because of my voice or just...
Yeah, I think it was the
nasally.
Maybe I still had Gretchen Wieners on the mind.
Yeah, it's still funny to you.
Gretchen Wieners.
Did you get what I sent you on Instagram with the cave divers finding out there's a new cave called the Devil's Ass Crack?
No.
With a 0% survival rate.
No. I'll have to look
you have
at
to
that
look at it
after.
because I was crying laughing just sending it to you. Cave divers, we always like talk about how cave diving is the creepiest, most stupid thing.
Yeah.
These cave divers will go in these tiny, like take their gear off and slip.
Yeah.
If for what? To see nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they dust it up when they crawl in the hole that's this big anyways. And they're like, oh, I came in here, I can tell people I did it.
Devil's ass crack with a 0% survival rate.
And you just think, like, Those guys that squeeze in those little holes get in there and they're like, I could have just told people I did this.
I could have just
I could
lied.
have just lied.
Oh,
Such a
man.
good story.
So yeah, basically Lara doesn't really put up a fight. She sends Marina to the rum tasting picnic lunch. It's kind of raining. They go for the rum tasting. You know, we talked about this last week. Nothing about that was I was like, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, no.
Every time they tasted a rum, I'm like,
Yeah. I know we talked about this, and even when I was drinking, I would still be like, I'm just going to hang out on the boat. Rum is gross. And you can't change my mind.
it's one of those things that like when it's what the place you're at is known for, you're more likely to go do it. Mm-hmm. Like if you're in, let's say, Louisville, Kentucky, you're going to go to the Louisville Slugger Museum.
And get a Cosmopolitan.
What?
What? I said, and get a Cosmopolitan.
What's that mean?
Instead of a bourbon.
Oh, no, Louisville Slugger is the bats, like baseball bats.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like Tennessee whiskey.
Oh no, that would have been a good
Yeah.
example as well.
Yeah.
You got ahead of me.
I did.
I was gonna say
Sorry.
the Louisville Slugger.
Uh-huh.
I don't give a shit about baseball, but when you're there, you go.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's also a good example, like bourbon. I don't give a shit about bourbon,
But you're gonna go.
But you're gonna go.
Yeah, that was like the BB gun museum I went to.
Exactly.
You gotta go, and I had a hell of a time.
Yeah, didn't you go see like the world's largest ball of yarn or something too? Or the world's biggest chair or something?
World's biggest belt buckle at Uranus Fudge Factory.
That's what it was. Yeah. Never did you think you would want to see the world's biggest belt buckle.
No, but I want to go back. Uranus was hilarious. If you're ever driving in the middle of nowhere and you see a sign for Uranus Fudge Factory, you gotta go.
What state?
Was it Missouri?
I was gonna say, was it Missouri?
I think it was Missouri.
Because what state were you driving to?
Arkansas.
And it wasn't in Arkansas?
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe it was Missouri.
I think it was Missouri.
God, that drive had to suck.
Yeah, oh, it was horrible.
Yeah,
and
driving
on the way back, the two guys I traveled with had
got sick.
COVID.
Oh yeah. That is so weird because that happened to you. And then, speaking of Louisville, we went to Louisville with my friend Carly and her husband. Mm. Everybody got COVID on that trip too. Mm-hmm. Her husband had it and gave it to every single. Well, maybe Carly didn't get it, but Brad and I both got it after that.
Yeah.
Around the same time.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, how did we end up talking about COVID? Back to COVID, full circle.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
When you walked in the door at Uranus Fudge Factory, every worker there would yell, "Welcome to Uranus." And that's worth the stop alone.
That's got to be a great job.
Oh, I know.
You know?
And then the sword swallower, that was insane.
Oh my God. What do they have there?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything you could ever want. A big belt buckle.
Try saying that 3 times fast. World's biggest belt buckle.
World's biggest belt buckle.
Say it again.
World's biggest belt buckle.
Say it again.
World's biggest belt. Yep.
Yep.
Fucked it up.
Yep. There you go.
There it is.
Oh man. Okay. Anyway, they went on this rum tasting. Didn't look.
Can I
that
say
great.
one more thing? I'm just kidding.
And another thing about Uranus.
And another thing.
Okay. So the big kind of, it's not big, but the kind of drama that happened with this picnic is Lara insisting that Zarena go.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. She wanted a head of department to go. Mm-hmm. So that was a little bit of a cop-out for her, I think.
I think it was a little bit. And it was a weird hill to die on.
It was weird because Zarena wasn't cooking anything.
No.
Like, it would be a little different if she was going to be grilling steaks on the beach or something.
Yeah.
It was literally in a picnic basket.
It was almost like we need a head of department there for, like, management of everybody.
Yeah, I could see that, but it should be
also,
Lara then.
It's also a very capable crew, so I don't think you would need that.
Right.
But, like, maybe if something goes wrong, you want a head of department there.
I get that. So...
But still, it could have easily been Lara.
Right. I guess what I don't understand then is why not leave Alicia on the boat?
Oh, because Lara... Well, yeah, you know. Laura made a big stink about that too, where she's like, bring her so she has the confidence to do this next time. And it was just a big circle of like, well, why can't she do it this time? Because she can't do it this time. But bring her so she can do it next time.
Yeah, it was weird. I can see a little bit of like wanting a head of department there to be the one making the calls.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you could just be like, Alicia, you're making the calls. I guess because it was Adair, Marina, and Alicia, and they're all kind of newish.
But like outside of the new people, like the greenest people on the boat.
Yeah. So I guess I see it, but it was silly because Zarena was there for 5 minutes.
Yeah, they really should have just sent, like, if no one could go, send Harry. He knows what he's doing.
That's true.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be Adair.
No.
Yeah. It was just weird.
Just leave Adair on the boat, send Harry. He can call the shots.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird.
Weird.
So let's see. Okay, so basically now we're at Nick is calling Captain. Can I talk with you?
Yeah, I was going to ask you my question of the day, but we got into it.
Sorry, I just completely didn't.
No, I didn't think about it until like 2 minutes ago.
Okay.
Could Nick have been more dramatic talking to Captain Jace?
He wasn't dramatic when he was talking to him.
I was kidding. He was very like, I fucked up, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's essentially what he goes in. He's like, I took a shot. I'm really sorry. I take full responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
And at first Captain's like, that's no good. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like, but of course, I think Captain has to be a little dramatic too.
Yeah, I mean, he also has to tell him, like, yeah, don't fucking do that.
Right. You can't be like, it's okay, buddy.
It's all right, bud.
But he basically says, like, we'll put it to bed. Like, you handled this exactly how I'd want someone to handle this. So, just don't do it again.
And I think he could tell he was already, well, he was very sorry for it and already kind of beating himself up. So he's like, it seems like you already learned your lesson. Let's
for
just move
sure.
forward.
Yeah, like, could you imagine if Weehan did that? I hate that I even have to keep saying his name. But
I know.
I think Captain coming off of that, like, saw Nick as the complete opposite. Not that Nick is the bosun by any means, but you know what I mean? Like, that he just got done saying, take responsibility for your stuff. It was the right call on Captain's part, basically.
Yeah.
He's like, and then even like, so then Nick just kind of keeps getting funnier because then he tells the deck team. He's got to go tell each of them individually that he took a shot, which is actually so funny and so like, honestly a good thing.
Yeah.
Because like, you don't want the rumors to be spreading. You can get ahead of it. Because if someone would have like Bree, for example, Bree could have been like, Nick took a shot. And they'd be like, oh my God. And then it spreads that like, maybe he had bad intentions, whatever.
Yeah.
So
that is, I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah.
He was very much like, hey guys, I fucked up. Like, if anything, learn from me. Don't do that. You probably already knew that, but don't do that.
So he tells Nate and Harry, and Nate's like, yeah, by the look on his face, he's not going to do that again. Like, nobody was worried that he had bad intentions.
Yeah, even if you don't fully explain it, just like he said, the look on his face, you know that exactly what's going on here. Like, he didn't hear a rumor or anything.
Yep. And then, I think this was later on.
The Marina thing with Adair.
What happened?
They're talking about how Nick took a shot. And Adair set it up like, yeah, Nick was getting crazy with the guests last night. And Marina's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And she like thought Nick hooked up with one of the guests.
Oh, I didn't think she thought that. I thought she meant like, I thought Marina was worried that like Nick took a shot and like didn't tell Captain and like wasn't sorry about it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get that vibe. But maybe you're right. So anyway, it's fine. Marina also did great on the picnic lunch. Yeah. Lara gets a little bit irritated that Zarena comes back within like a short amount of time because she's like, did she serve the guests lunch? Like, okay, Lara, do you want Zarena to do everything?
Yeah.
I'm very confused.
I know.
It's on Marina and Adair to serve them the lunch. Mm-hmm. I don't understand. I think she's just kind of nitpicking.
I think she is too. And she might be that way with everybody. Like, there has to be a problem that she's solving, and it was just Weehan up until this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of with Zarina on this one where it's like, yeah, she made all the food. You can take the lids off,
Right.
That's lunch. Good.
Yeah.
Like, here you go.
Yeah. Very, very nitpicky
Yeah.
and weird. So then Zarina, the next note I have is Zarina thinks Lara is grooming Alicia to be against her.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that was in reference to.
Just kind of throughout the episode, she's like saying and asking things of Alicia.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is she not being a good boss? Oh, is she doing this? Yeah.
Yeah, like, and like up until this point, I don't think Lara and Alicia like have really been that close.
No.
So again, very like,
They probably won't be after this.
very like now Alicia is okay. I'm thinking in terms of Mean Girls. I think now, okay, so Lara is Gretchen, or Lara is Regina George. Zarina is Gretchen Wieners. I think Alicia might be Katie Heron, the Lindsay Lohan,
Okay.
because
She's from Australia.
I think in Mean Girls they're from South Africa.
That's what it is.
But they're
Africa.
not from South Africa. They just like lived there. I don't know if that completely makes sense, but like that's in my head of like Regina George is now trying to like get Katie to come in, but then it doesn't fully work, and I won't get into why. Nobody wants to know that.
Give us your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah.
Put it in Mean Girls terms.
Because then I was thinking, who's shoot, I should know this. Shoot, who's the goth girl? Damien and Janice Ian. I was thinking Zarina could be Janice Ian because Janice and Katie were close, but Janice hates Regina, and so Zarina doesn't hate Lara. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't work. So if you don't know Mean Girls, you won't get any of this. That's why I wasn't going to get into it. Anyway, now we're basically at dinner, and we also get a little bit of preview of like Nick and Marina like being flirty, and I was like, I actually kind of like that.
Yeah.
They fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both good people, it seems like.
And Nick's talking about how he's never been good with the ladies. That's a big surprise, right?
Yeah, what?
And he's like, basically like, thank God for feminism because I've been asked out a couple of times.
That was just a good clean joke.
Yeah, good clean joke because it's true. I did make the note that the table says Luna. Did you see that?
I didn't.
I'm guessing it was the girl's name.
Yeah.
But Luna's my dog's name.
Lunar.
All right, it's dinner, and Lane doesn't have any notes, so you guys should be mean to him in the comments.
Nah.
Don't worry, they won't be.
Yeah, no. They really never are. Yeah, so we panicked after last week, and I set up my phone to record.
Oh.
But we also are recording on a Tuesday. I have
Yeah.
to go in the office on Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
Had to watch the episode in the office. Those are my excuses.
Yeah.
I believe dinner was a chickpea curry with cinnamon.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I think that's what it was.
Well, I think there was 2 courses, and we were talking about it before we started recording, but like we didn't get a lot of info.
No.
So that's on you guys this week. Tell us about the food. There was a point though, I thought the most interesting part about it was like the look Lara gives.
Yeah.
When it was like the cinnamon. Shoot, I wish I would have wrote it down. It was like, cinnamon curry something. To be honest, it sounded a little weird to me too.
Well, yeah. It sounded really weird. When I heard it, I was like, ugh.
But they liked it.
Yeah.
They didn't have any
I probably
issue.
looked like Lara, but...
Yeah, maybe that's the reaction anybody would have.
Yeah.
But we also don't have expensive tastes, so
It's true.
I don't know. But that's really all we got for dinner. My next note is Nate and Harry are really getting along.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah. And it's nice to see, like, Nate seems like a pretty cool, like, good guy.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Harry.
Yeah, and he's like giving Harry respect. Like that again, that is what a good leader does, is like you give people respect in the areas like that they're good at. Like so yeah, Nate of course is the boss, and he's got more overall knowledge than Harry, and he doesn't have to prove that to anybody. But he's like, Harry's been working on this boat longer than me, so I'm going to use his knowledge of this boat. See how simple it can be?
I know. He says something like, I don't really have an ego, so I'm more than happy to listen to Harry about this boat.
Again, yeah.
And I was thinking, I'm like, that would have literally killed Weehan to say out loud
Oh,
to
yeah.
another person.
For sure.
Like, and it made so much sense. He's like, yeah, I've never been on this boat. Harry's been on it for a few weeks. He knows more than me. I'll listen to him.
Yeah. See how simple it is?
Yeah. And that's literally what you just said. And I said it in basically the same words. So,
Mansplaining 101. At least once an episode.
my bad.
Zarena, okay, this is the part where like Zarena and Alicia are like getting kind of snappy. But I wrote that before, like, but Zarena really doesn't. It's really just Alicia. And how did this all come up? I was a little confused by the situation.
It was really weird. I don't think we got the full story.
Because this is the next morning, I should say. This is like breakfast.
Yeah, and Zarena's just kind of mad around the kitchen, and then Alicia's like, I want to help you, I just don't know how, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. And I think Alicia's just frustrated that like Zarena's not communicating more.
Yeah.
But I'm still confused by it. Like,
And she also, yeah, it was really weird, and it was one of those things where my best guess was there was a lot going on in Zarena's head that she was, spinning up and kind of making up like other people saying things, but she starts going at Alicia about how they're making different things, and she's like, well, you didn't make these eggs, so now I have to do it. And Alicia's like, I just did it. And she's like, well, don't start something else without doing what I asked you. And she's like, I already did it. And then she's like, yeah, you say yes, chef. And I'm like, okay, now she's just being petty.
Yeah.
I know you should do that, but they don't have that type of relationship.
I know. Yeah, I was just like confused by it. I think overall Zarena was irritated with Lara. And I think like Alicia was reading that as like maybe she's irritated with me and it wasn't that and whatever.
Yeah, and she seemed like she was kind of taking it out on Alicia.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just a little confusing. Guests are leaving basically at this point. They said when they were leaving, they said their only criticism is that Nick needs to work on his beer pong skills. And he was like pooping his pants. Like, don't bring it up. Don't bring it up.
Like, come on, guys, these shorts are white. Yeah, they just had to bring that up. They had to. Because like it wasn't their fault.
Right. I think we talked about this last week. I think in the back of their minds, they knew it was wrong. And then they only leave 15,000 for a tip.
Yeah, what the hell was that about?
It was so weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Nobody really reacts to it besides Captain being like, I don't think the tip reflects the job you guys did.
Yeah. And it's not like they wouldn't have shown us something. They show us everything dramatic and bad.
Right.
That surprised me. They only left 15,000.
Yeah. I don't know. We get these random ones sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the charter will go awful and they leave a good tip.
Yeah.
So you really can't know.
Or at least like the average, but damn.
Yeah. I don't know. And Nick gets the helmet, of course.
Yeah. I called that last week.
You did. And Captain did. I was like, is Captain going to tell everybody what he did? And he ends up telling people, but not in a bad way. Like, he's like, he owned up to it, like, knew it was wrong. And then we get like this montage of everybody talking about Nick. And I didn't write them all down, but I wrote what Adair said. She goes, he sounds like a cartoon character. And Nate said he's a dork.
Yeah.
Which are both true.
Yeah.
Dork is not always bad.
No.
Dork is honestly never really bad.
It really isn't.
No.
It's more of like, you dork.
Yeah.
Like
nobody really says dork.
No.
I haven't heard that like a lot since like high school.
Yeah.
Call people dorks in high school.
Dork?
Yeah.
Even back then it was kind of lame.
Weird word.
Yeah. Hard to say.
Dork.
Dork.
Wonder if that's very American.
Yeah.
Anybody who's not from the U.S., tell us, do you use the word dork?
Yeah.
Wait, but maybe they do because Nate used it, and I don't think he's not from the U.S.
I think you're right.
Anyway. So, yeah, this is at this point, Nate gives the lead deckhand to Harry. I said, hopefully he doesn't shit the bed. They're dramatic in the coming up on. I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah. Even what they showed us, it was I already kind of had a guess as to what happened whatever Harry was doing was taking a little bit longer than expected. And then I'm sure in the next frame he gets it and no one says a word about it.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so, and I think Captain's happy about it too. We kind of saw that in the coming up on, so I don't think anybody's gonna have a problem with that. At this point, we see Lara, Bree, and Alicia talking about Zarena in the room. It sucks because I get the vibe that Alicia was put in this situation. I don't want to say she's completely innocent, but they were like, tell us what happened. And of course, then she's going to say it. I've been in situations like that before where I'm like, I probably shouldn't be saying this because this person could literally walk in at any moment, but I'm being pushed to say it. And I feel like that's the situation she was in because then Zarena does walk in.
Well, and she also, like, she lost Johnny. And Zarena's kind of her closest friend on the boat.
Yeah.
And now her closest friend is like lashing out at her. So she probably wants to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So kind of shitty on Lara and Bree.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think the dynamic was so good. Because it was like Marina and Adair, Lara and Bree, and Zarena and Alicia. And now it's like, well, it's always going to happen, right? It can't be perfect. I said the quote earlier, like, Zarena's basically like blaming Lara at this point, why was I so naive, stupid, put on her pedestal, bitchy schoolgirl attitude is what she says, which is kind of what we've been saying.
That's what we've been saying. Gretchen Wieners.
Yep. No, Regina George. Zarena's Gretchen Wieners. You just wanted to say Gretchen Wieners again.
Zarena Wieners.
That's funny.
Couldn't even get it out.
Zarena Wieners. So that's basically that at this point. It's weird because Zarena has her swimsuit on, but then she never gets in the hot tub.
No.
Only Nate and Alicia do, and they're talking, and all I can think is how hot that must be.
Oh, God, yeah. In the daytime?
In the sun?
In the sun?
Oh, my God. No way. I won't even get in our hot tub when it's like 70 degrees outside.
Yeah. That's hot.
It's hot. Unless, the only thing I can think is that they didn't heat it.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, maybe they put like colder water in it.
Yeah, and just left it. That would, because they refill and drain that thing over and over.
Yeah.
So that's possible.
Yeah. It could even, do they make hot tubs that make it cold? Is that a thing?
Yes. That's a good question.
Like a little pool?
Yeah. When we were looking at our hot tub, obviously there's all the hot tubs, but then there's like I don't even know.
Infinite pool thing? Infinity pool.
Is that what they're called? But I don't know that it was cold per se, but it's the one where you can lap swim.
Yeah.
But it can also be a hot tub, but it's huge.
Yeah, I feel like those, you wouldn't want it to be hot. So it probably has like normal temperature and hot, I would guess.
I don't know. That's a good, like, why don't they have to make those?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not that hard.
Yeah. But also, that's probably why it's weird to go. You wouldn't be like, oh, I'm in a hot tub tonight and then I'm going to cold plunge tomorrow. That's way too big of a variance. You wouldn't be able to do that with the water.
Yeah. But they drain it all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's a way to make it colder, if that makes sense. But you could fill it with cold water.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, at this point, though, Alicia's still texting Johnny. Like, she goes back to the room and texts Johnny. So,
yeah, probably her last text to him.
Where do you think Johnny is? You think he went back to Greece?
Yeah.
She's texting him? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird that she's still texting him.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I get it. They got pretty close pretty quick. But I feel like that's something that would fizzle out pretty quick, too.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they're both just not acknowledging that yet. Who knows?
And the messages we see from Johnny are kind of like, yeah, keep your head up, keep going, like, don't lose your spark.
Yeah.
Like, more being a friend than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Also, they could just be making it up.
True.
We don't actually know that they're texting each
No.
other. Below Deck could be completely making it up.
Yeah.
So now we're at the night out, and not much happens. I mean, Zarena and Alicia end up talking at some point. They go, like, have a smoke break, and they're fine. We kind of talked about this earlier. Like, Zarena basically tells Alicia, like, it wasn't at you. I was annoyed at Lara.
Yeah.
And then that's when I was... okay, so Zarena says that to her, and then Lara approaches Alicia in the bathroom. That also puts Alicia in a weird spot. Because that's the point I was trying to make earlier. She can't say, oh, she was actually mad at you, not me, to Lara.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why she says, oh, it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
And then that's when Lara jumps on that. Like, oh, no, that's...
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
I do now, yeah.
I didn't think of it in that moment either, but
Yeah.
that was Alicia trying to sidestep it all, being like, oh, it's fine, whatever, I'm not getting involved in a way. But of course, Lara was always going to react in some way like that.
Yeah, and especially, like, it is what it is basically code for, I'm over it, I don't want to talk about it.
Yes.
But she took it as, like, oh, Zarena, like, pushed it under the rug, she's not, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like you said.
She makes a comment where Lara interprets it as... what's the phrase? And I agree, kind of like, this is just the way it is. Like, this industry, the way it is.
Old school.
Yes,
Old
that's...
fashioned,
yeah. Which I get, but, like, that's not what Alicia meant, I don't think. And then, whatever. It's kind of all lost in translation.
Misconstrued.
Yeah. Sorry. My
How
throat's
dare you.
dry. Oh, and then Marina and Nick just start making out.
Yeah. That was interesting to watch at work today.
Someone walks by, just sees that.
No!
No, it's not what you think.
It's not what you think.
I have this podcast with my sister. That would be even weirder.
That would be. I thought
I
about
don't
that.
want to explain it.
Like, if someone walked up and been like, what do you watch? And I was like, don't puke out all the information. Like, so I have this podcast with my sister, and we're going to be late today, and then we have to do it tonight because she leaves.
Yeah, we have to record. We're recording early because I leave for vacation, so we're recording earlier than
She's
we normally
going to
do.
Butte, Montana.
Yep. Nope, I'm going to Uranus, Missouri.
Hell yeah, brother. Bring me back a belt buckle.
Did you get a hat from Uranus?
No, I just got the sticker.
Weird. You'd think you would have gotten a hat,
You'd think.
but you didn't.
I don't remember why I didn't. I think it was pretty packed in the gift shop.
Oh, man,
Get it?
yep.
Packed. Boom.
Was it, though?
No.
No. You know what made me think of it? Have you I don't know if you've ever been here. Oh no, you have. Waldrug, South Dakota.
Yep.
Oh my God. You see anybody who's driven from
Anywhere to South
I would
Dakota.
say East Iowa
Yeah.
all the way through Iowa to I guess you'd be in South Dakota when you get to the end of the western side of Iowa. Anyway, at this place called Waldrug, you see signs for hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
Hundreds. And you're like, what is that? It just says Waldrug. And you're like, I have no idea what those two words mean.
Yep.
What are they? So it's intriguing in a way that I think they tell you, they don't want you to know exactly what it is.
Oh, yeah. It's a great marketing ploy.
And then you go there and it's nothing.
Nothing at all.
It's not even, it's a store, I guess.
Yeah. It's one of those stores that sells, like, the shiny rocks, like, handmade vases that
There's
are,
like
like,
a-
$500.
There's like a dinosaur.
Yeah, there's
There.
like a weird dinosaur.
Yeah,
One of those, like, fortune teller machines.
Yep, yeah.
All that stuff wrapped up into a little tiny store that is marketed over the entire state of Iowa.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
So you
But
go.
you stop every time.
You have to know what it is.
You gotta go.
And I couldn't even, we just tried to explain it. And I was like, I can't even really explain it. But if you ever find yourself in that situation, you're probably going to go too. Because you're going to be like, I have to see this.
Yeah. And then you're going to be like, well, now I got to go to Uranus Fudge Factory. And you should go
I got to
there.
keep driving. I got to go to Missouri now.
Yeah.
The other
Another
thing-
horrible drive.
Another horrible drive. The other thing you need to go to is the world's biggest truck stop.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's not as crazy to us because it's not very far from us.
Yeah.
It's like
Like we just
an
went
hour.
past it
Yeah, we go past it a lot. Yeah. But that's also like, you have to stop.
Yeah, because
it's the world's biggest truck stop.
There's a truck inside of a gas station.
Yeah, exactly.
It's insane.
Yeah, you have to. All right, well, that's basically it. We basically end on the drama with Zarena and Alicia. And he said, oh, now Lara and Zarena are talking, creating drama about bowls.
Oh, yeah. They're like, well, I just thought it was the right plate.
It was the right bowl for the place. I'm like, oh my God, now we're creating drama about bowls because we hands gone.
Yeah, we're just grasping at straws here. But yeah, it did also make me think that Lara's very innocent to Zarena's face, and then she's doing all this shit behind her back.
True. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see where this
goes. Get her out of there.
No, not yet. We'll see. I think by next episode we'll have a better idea of like whose side we're on. Mm-hmm. I'm always rooting for the underdog though, so it's like Zarena. I'm more with Zarena right now just because I think Lara has the upper hand.
Who?
Lara?
Zarena Wiener.
Oh, in the coming up on, we basically just get the guests wanted a circus themed evening, and I was like, that's an interesting request.
Yeah, that's like someone who's never been to a circus requests that.
That's like someone I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. I'm just going to say that no one with 5-star taste
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It's like Circus in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's got a cool name, but that's about it.
Oh my God, I've been there and it is gross.
Yeah.
It is gross there. It's like they're known for the grossness.
Yeah.
You can stay there for like $10 a night.
Hell yeah, brother. 2 hots and a cot.
2 cots and a hot.
2 hats and a... What were you going to say?
We didn't have any new questions this week, so we're not going to do that. So basically yeah, thanks guys. You hate us. What's the secret word?
I mean, I want to say Zarena Wieners.
No.
But we can't say that because I'll probably get flagged for like bullying or something.
What was the thing I made you say 3 times fast?
Something about...
World's biggest belt buckle?
World's biggest belt buckle.
See? That should be it.
World's biggest belt buckle. Yeah, there it is.
World's biggest belt buckle. That's the secret word.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? This is kind of an episode where it's like, oh, okay, we just got the 2 big dramatic ones. Now we're kind of simmering down, but according to the coming up on we saw last week, we're going to get some more drama. So stick with us. But thank you guys. We love all of you.
Yeah.
We just looked today. We have 1,000 people that are coming back week after week. So
yeah, that's insane.
Hello to all the new people, and of course our OGs. We love you. But
yeah.
I think that's all we got for you this week. So we'll see you next week.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.
I was gonna say,
did you like our hats?
There's no way to say, hey, by the way, guys, did you see my hat? It's
did
funny.
You see it?
It's funny, right?
It's really funny.
We're funny on this podcast.
We're really funny.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.